Hey, what's going on everyone? Hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be showing you a couple of great piano voicings that you can use if you're just starting out. I'm going to be starting with the voicings first, and then I'm going to get into how to actually practice this on the keyboard. So to get the most out of it, make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Let's get started. So the first voicing I'm going to show you is one you can use for major, minor, and diminished. And it looks like this. Okay, this is for the major, this is for the minor, and this is for the diminished. Very, very similar. Basically, the idea here is you want to put fifths in the bass, so whatever type of fifth it is. So with major and minor, we'll start like this. You're just going to have a regular fifth. We call it a perfect fifth. So you find your root note of your chord. So for example, if you're playing this in C, if you want to play C major, you put, perfect fifths from the bass. And then in your right hand, you're going to do a first inversion triad. Now, if you don't know what that means, is basically you've got, if you've learned your chords here, you've got C major, right? An inversion is basically where you take the bottom note and then you move it up an octave. Okay, so you take this note and you move it up an octave. That's going to give you first. If you're also doing second, you're just taking this note and then you're moving it up again. That's your second, and then you do it one more time, and you're back to root position, okay? So again, in this example, we've got the fifths here, and then on our right hand, we're gonna put our first inversion triad. I'm saying just triad because you can do this for major, you can do this for minor, and you can do this for diminished. Sorry, I messed that up, for diminished. And that will change depending on the type of chord you have. So for example, minor, we're gonna have this is normally what a minor chord looks like, at least in C, for C minor. And so you've got that flat third. So you have to make sure in here, I guess you can think of it in your right hand. If you're doing this voicing, you just sort of lower that note one. You find the minor third bass from the root. So you've got that, and then there's your minor chord. A diminished chord, you've got a flat third. So this is in C major, our flat third, but then we've also got a flat five. Okay, and so what we got to do here is we got to change a couple things from the major for starting like this. You've got to have your flat five in the left hand, so you kind of have like this, and then in your right hand you have to do your first inversion triad. So you've got your flat third, and then your flat five, and then your root. And so you can put this in a couple different keys too as well. So like, for example, the way, again, you want to think about it, just fifths in the bass, and then your first inversion triad. So you can sort of look with your eyes. So say, for example, let's pick a chord that maybe you're not super familiar with, and we'll go through the process. So say, for example, maybe E flat. I'm going to think fifths in my left hand, and then first inversion in my right hand. Starting on, I guess you can think maybe on the third. So I find the root note, okay, I go up a fifth, and then I find the third, and then I do my first inversion. And then that's simply how I find my chord. Again, you can do sort of this. If you're more comfy with this, find the triad, first in root position, then sort of move it up. Okay? You can do this in other keys too as well, just to get good at it, but that's, again, the sort of process of how you want to see it. Okay, so another voicing I'm going to give you for your triads, your major, minor, and diminished, is this one, where I'm going to put, and it's very simple, I'm just going to put octaves in the bass, so on my root note, and then I'm going to add the fifth there too. I'm going to play this all together. That's my left hand. In my right hand, I'm going to do a second inversion triad. Like that again. So root position, first and second. This is for the major, C major. For C minor, I've got to change a couple, just one thing actually. I've got to lower that third. So it looks like that. And then for diminished, I've got to change, I guess if you want it from here, you've got to change actually two things. Like this, I got to lower the fifth here and here. So I got to go like that. Okay? And so this is the other voicing that sort of that you want to, the way to build it, I guess, maybe is a better way to think about it. You've got your octaves and fifth, and then you've got your second inversion. So you can try to put that, again, in the process that I would do, figuring it in a key I'm not super familiar, maybe D flat. So a D flat major chord. Doing this voicing, I find D flat, the root, octave up, my fifth. Now, okay, I've got to start, I have to find the second inversion. So go boom, and then that. Now that's going to be my second inversion. I would recommend getting comfy with your inversions and going through all the different ones to know what the second inversion looks like. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to show you a way to practice this, going through all the different keys, but for now, I'm just going to move on. Another one to finish it off would be this one, really. It's very, very similar to the one we were just doing before, where we've got like in the fifth and we're doing it in first inversion, but with this one, I'm just going to do it in root position. The reason why I'm also asking you to practice this one too is because this is going to allow you to play your chord progressions and voice lead them a little bit better. Okay, so all I'm doing literally is just fifths, and then I'm adding the root position. So it's probably as easy as you can, take it, hopefully. This is major, this is minor with the flat third, and then our diminished is like this. Okay, I've got to change two things. Another voicing that you can do is what we call an open triad. An open triad is basically where we play a triad and we're just kind of spreading it out here, okay? And so basically for a C major open triad, it would look like this. We've got root, fifth, and an E. If you have the hands for it, this would be great for you. I really recommend trying to play your chords like this. It makes them sound quite full. This sounds great too as well. You can do that. So try to play your chords like this. You can do this for major, minor, and your diminished is going to look like that. I would also recommend trying to do the one with like the first inversion, and it's going to look like this. So you've got E, C, and G. The way you can think about it is you've got a sixth, and then you've got a fifth in here. So what a seventh chord is basically you've got a triad and we're just adding the seventh note to it. Now, you can sort of count up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and find it that way. I think there's an easy way to do it if you're not super comfortable with when you put it in different keys, it's going to be a lot harder to see like something like A flat major or like, G flat major. And so counting up and going, to 7 is going to kind of mess you up if you're like, okay, I want to play maybe F sharp major. That's going to be F sharp, like minor 7 or major 7. It's going to mess you up when you try and do that because you're trying to count up and you're not going to be able to because you're not used to seeing it. But an easy thing you can do is simply just pick your root note and then just go down a semitone and then move it up an octave. That's going to give you a major 7. To find your minor 7 or a flat 7, you want to go down a whole tone and then move it up an octave. That's going to give you your minor 7, or we call it a flat 7 too, okay? And basically, that's really all a seventh chord is. You've got that triad, and then you're just adding that seventh, depending on, now of course there's the chord qualities here, right? So the first one here is the major 7. We've just got, a major triad and a major 7th. A minor 7 is we've got a minor triad and a flat 7. And then our half diminished, or we call it minor 7 flat 5, is just a minor 7, and you just lower it, and then there's your flat 5, okay? And then a dominant 7 is just a major triad with a flat 7. Those are the most common ones. There are other ones, but those are the ones you should probably watch out for, and if you practice these ones, you'll probably be good to go. So the first voicing I'm going to show you is like this, okay? So that's a major 7 voicing. The way I constructed this, you can use for a minor 7, and you can use this for your flat 7, and you can use this for your dominant 7. With the major 7, you've got your root, your fifth, and your 7th. Again, I found it by just kind of going down a semitone. And then in my right hand, I'm just going to play a 5th on the 3rd. Okay, so I count up the 3rd from the root, and then I've got a 5th. Again, to put this in another key, you just simply, let's try D flat, okay? So 5ths, 7th, and then my 3rd. Go 1, 2, 3. Another way, also count up 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your major 3rd. And then a 5th. And that's going to be the same across all keys, okay? So your minor 7 is a little bit different. You just got that flat 7 to worry about, and then the flat 3rd. So in this example, we've got the 5th, flat 7, by just going down a whole tone, bringing it up. And then we've got the flat third, so that we can find the flat third by just basically going up 3 semitones. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna put a 5th there. All right, and that's gonna give me my minor 7 voicing. And this is gonna be great because you can put this in all keys in the same way, like the same process of thinking about how you figure it out will carry through all the keys. So that'll be for the minor 7 and major 7. For half diminished or minor 7 flat 5, it's gonna look like this. All right, so the way I'm constructing this, super simple. I've got my 5ths here. It's gonna be a diminished 5th or flattened 5, and then I've got my flat 7, and then I've got my flat 3rd here, and then I've got my 5th starting on the minor 3rd. You have to be a little bit careful when trying to find it because you're probably not going to be used to seeing a diminished 5th. So if you put this in another key, you might get thrown off. So maybe start with the 5th and then like lower it. So if I was going to say, put this in maybe play like E flat diminished, you could start like doing this. You play like a E flat minor 7, find that, and then just sort of like then lowering this and boom, there you go. You know, that's an easy way to probably do it. Last one is just the dominant 7, same sort of thing, 5ths in the bass. It's gonna have a flat 7, okay? And then in our right hand, it's gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna put that diminished 5th too. So you can do the same thing what I was saying with the diminished, where you start off with that 5th and lower it. But in this example, it's not gonna be here regarding the actual 5th of the chord, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's gonna be more so like in terms of intervallically. I don't want to sound super complex when I say that, but like starting on the 3rd, right, you just do a 5th, but then you kind of lower it 1. That's an easy way to find it instead of like kind of trying to figure out where the 7 is and all that kind of stuff. It's easier to do, I think, to do that. But whatever works for you, I think that's the best way to go about it. All right, so if you stuck around till now, thank you so much. I'm just going to quickly show you how to practice this stuff in a couple different keys. I think it's really important to also know how to practice this instead of just sort of learning these voicings. Maybe I've showed you everything sort of in C, or at least on the chord C, changing the sort of quality of it. But you got to have some way to practice it. And what I would really, the quick and dirty way to do it really is to move it in semitones. So say, for example, I showed the beginning voicing I showed you was like this, right? So maybe for the major one, like that, right? So we did the 5ths in the bass and then first inversion triad in the right hand. Now, if I'm moving this up, I might want to do it in semitones. So see what I'm doing there? And so what I'm doing is I'm basically just going to move it across all 12 of the keys. And so whenever I want to play any chord, I know what it looks like. One of the issues, I guess, is when I was first starting it, it's hard to see. One of the tips I recommend is moving every single note a semitone. So you got to get really comfy with like seeing the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is basically, just every single note on the piano. But basically, move one note every single time. So you go like this. Okay, move this one, move this one, move this one, move this one, move this one. Okay, cool, that's my next chord. Same sort of thing. Eventually, you want to try to just do 2 at the same time. I don't know. And just build it up so you can play the whole thing as a chord. The more and more you do this, the easier it's going to be for you to play these voicings in a different key. A more musical way to do it, and probably a little more interesting, and it's going to help you with your major scale and the chords within it, is probably playing it in the diatonic cycle of fourths. The cycle of fourths is the exact same thing as the cycle of fifths. It's just the other way. The way we're going to practice it is we're going to do it diatonically. And so what that means is we're going to stay within the key. So we're not going to be playing exact fourths. We're going to be playing a little variation. So for example, we're starting on C, right? I go up a fourth, this is a fourth. And then I'm going to go down a fifth. Now this seems like, wait, hold on. You're like, I'm doing the cycle of fourths. Why are we going down to fifth? Well, what happens is basically instead of going like this, so which would be technically going in fourths upwards, I'm going to just move it downwards because all I'm doing really is I'm inverting it, right? So if I invert it, I basically take this bottom note and I move it up, right? And so technically, if I want to go up a fourth, I can technically go down a fifth and I get the same sort of results. Musically, I guess. The normal cycle of fourths would be like this. Now that would take me through all 12 notes of the piano. The diatonic cycle of fourths would basically be where instead of going, so C, F, instead of going to B flat, I'm gonna go to B. The reason why is because I want to stay within the key of C major, and there's no B flat in C major. So I'm gonna go down to the B instead. Go E, A, D, G, and C. And that's actually the whole cycle there. I'm not gonna keep going down because then I'm just really repeating anything. So there's really only 7 notes in there. Okay, so the voicings that I'm gonna show you are this one. So we've got this one, and then this one. So you can practice this and put this in all these different keys. So the first one, we'll start on the 1, which is major. We're gonna go to the 4, like this, which is major. Then we're gonna go to the 7, which is diminished. It's gonna look like this. Okay, that's 7, diminished, and then we're gonna go to the 3, which is minor. And then we're gonna go to the 6, which is minor. Then we're gonna go to the 2, which is also minor. Then we're gonna go to the 5, which is major. And then we're gonna go back to the 1, which is major. Cool, so now you've got something that takes you through all of the chords in the major scale, and you're also practicing these 2 chord voicings, this one and this one. There's of course this one too as well, and there's other ways to play this too as well. Like this is just one way to go about doing it, right? You can, for example, play it like this. Let's see. The great thing about this is it sort of helps you with a lot of different progressions out there, and it just really takes you through all of the chords in a major key. So this can be a really great way to practice your chord voicings in the major scale. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate a like. So in the future, I'm going to be doing some more music teaching stuff just like this, and some more music production stuff as well in Cubase and Ableton. So I'll probably be posting some videos like that in the future. I hope you're all now able to take these voicings and incorporate that into your playing. Just keep in mind, this stuff takes a while and a lot of practice. So just keep working on it just day by day, and it'll definitely pay off in the future. So that about does it for this video. I hope you all make some great music now, and I'll see you all in the next video.